Welcome back to Hit the X Reloads with Dean. Yes, we're finally there, the reloading series. This is Class 1, new brass prep. We are going to go over all the steps involved with getting new virgin brass ready and loaded for fire forming. You will need to download the file Fired and New 6mm Brass Prep from the file downloads link in this video's description below, which will tell you the components you will need also. This is not just for 6mm brass, but for all bottleneck rifle brass. The files are just named 6mm for my purpose. I will try to get this all in one episode, but I might have to make two. Thanks for joining me, and let's get started. Okay, here we go with the second step now, which is very easy. You got to have your set of calipers with a headspace gauge on it. I use the Short Action Customs modular headspace, which I'm sure doesn't surprise you. Make sure you're zeroed out. Okay? So you want to measure your first piece. I've got 1.0675. I will write that down here, which I've got it written down. Now I'll just keep on measuring, and if I get a longer one, I'll cross this one out and then write the longer one down. Because what we're going for here is the longest one, and we need that to know on our fire forming how much our brass is growing the first time, and then we'll try to fit it into the chamber and see what we need to do from there. Basically, that's it. It's boring as hell, yes, I know, but somebody's got to do it, and unfortunately, it's us. So we just keep doing this, and if we got a longer one, say if I got 1.0678, I would write it down here, 678, okay? And that'll be our longest one. All right, in this section, what we're going to be doing is using the primer correction pocket tool to get the depth of our primer pockets here all the same. The tools involved here, which are all on my website, hitthexreloads.com, under the equipment tab. So this gauge here first that I have is made by Primal Rights. It's called the Primeware Digital Gauge. So first thing we have to do with this is we have to zero it. Now this collar on top, these are different collars for different size brass. So I'll just take a gauge block, put it on there, and hit the 0. Okay, we're 0. As it shows on this companion app, it'll show right on your phone. Then we'll screw this back on, and for doing this process, you really need something to hold onto the shell because you don't want it wobbling around. You want to keep it as straight as possible going into this cutter, as straight as possible. A company called fclassproducts.com, they make these collars which are for their auto dot machine. All right? For when you're neck turning inside and outside. These are made for that machine, and they work great for this purpose. So you would just put your brass in there, just give it a little knock, it's in there. Now we'll measure this. We're at 0.1222. All right. Now, this is going to get a little noisy here. So what you do is you turn this on and you guide your brass on the best that you can, nice and straight, and just push on it, not too hard, you know, not too soft, but not too hard, and let it go around a few times and clean out the brass. Then do it again, clean out the brass, and do it again until it's not cutting anymore. Then take a measurement. So let's see where we're at right now. Let's do this one. We were at 1.222. I believe I want to get to 0.1225. So we're going to put it on for the first time. Let it cut. Take it off. Dump out the brass. You see the shavings coming off there? I also keep a brush and just wipe this every once in a while. Okay, there's still brass coming off. Good. Let's take a measurement where we're at now. We're at 1.223. Now, I know that's not enough yet. So maybe there's a shaving caught in here, whatever, but we'll go again. Yep, it definitely took off some more. Clean it out. Okay, 1224, 0.12224. That is good for me. I will let that pass. As long as we can keep this in a couple thousandths, we're good. I just got this rubber pad to bang it on so I don't screw up the necks. So let's move on to another one. I know this seems like long, tedious work, but you only have to do it once, only on your new brass, and it's very important to do it because you got to get them primers seated right. Let's see where we're at. There we go, 0.12225. That's the number I'm shooting for, or a thousandths on either side. I mean, a 10 thousandths on either side is good. We'll just knock this out. Keep your blade clean. And I know this is a long process. I've got 200 pieces of brass to do here, so obviously I don't want you to sit here and watch it all, but this only has to be done once. Time consuming. I wish I could find somebody I could pay to do this for me. I'd do it. $12.23. Let me give that another swipe. Yeah, I could feel it cut a little more, and I see some more brass there. Yeah. You can kind of feel it cutting. Okay, so we're at 1.224. That's great. So that's how that works. Now, another way you could have done this is to use a pair of calipers, but I strongly recommend against that. Because you just can't, you know, the caliper has this end piece here where you can do a depth measurement. See how that comes up, down? But you cannot get an accurate measurement with this way. You really need a drop gauge. So if you don't have a drop gauge and you don't want to do this, just keep cutting with that thing. That comes preset to the factory to a certain depth. So just keep cutting till you get nothing more out of it and you'll be okay. Thanks. Now, the next step we're going to do is we're going to uniform the flash holes. This is the K&M flash hole uniformer. Okay? It's threaded at the end, which is perfect for this. But if you have a hexagonal, they make an adapter that you can screw on here and plug it into your 1/4-inch hex head. So this is real simple, this one. Let me screw this in here. And what you want to do is take your brass, slide it on, and you'll feel it go into the hole. Okay? And once it's in the hole, you just push a little bit until it reams. It makes a nice chamfer on the inside of the primer flash hole, which is nice. I mean, with this Lapua brass, you really don't have to do it because Lapua brass, their process and the way they cut these flash holes, they're almost perfect, you know, but this is just me. I like to do things so everything's pretty much exactly the same, you know, within a 10,000th of an inch. So let me show you how we do a couple of these and we'll get her going. That's that. You see the nice piece of brass came out of there? I can't show you the inside of this, but there's a nice bevel cut in there. This step couldn't be easier. And you see all those brass chippings coming out of here. So that's that. Very easy step. You just put this on, make sure the pin goes inside the flash hole, and just push on it and you'll feel it stop cutting. And that's it. Here's your little brass chips. And these all have a nice, perfect chamfer on the inside of the flash hole. Not much more I can tell you about that. This is simple. And let's move on to the next step now. Alrighty, our next step now is to just lightly chamfer the necks on your brass for when we get the bullet seating. If you'll see, it's just a squared off cut there now. So we just want to lightly chamfer them. That's it. And for this, we use this reaming tool that came with this set. You'll need one of these. I like this one because it's cone shaped, so it's good for a bunch of different sizes. But we just want to put it on there and lightly chamfer it. That's all. You'll see. Just leave it on there for a second or something. Okay, so let's get this going. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it flat on my thumb and hold it on the side so I can guide it in straight. That's it. That's all you want to do. Now you can see you got a chamfer there. This thing only focuses so close, but you should be able to see you got a nice chamfer there compared to no chamfer. Do these next couple. That's it. That one's done. That one's done. I'm not too good at holding this in the camera. I'm sorry about that, but see the nice chamfer around the inside? One more. And that one's done. Okay. Next, we're going to move on to one more step with this, and then I think we'll be done with this video, part 1. We'll make it, because I don't want to have a really long video, so that's how we'll do it. See you in the next step. This step here now is to brush our necks out. This is a nice setup in here because I can put 2 brushes on here on each side, and I can do 2 at once. Now, the importance of brushing your necks out is to make sure you get any crud or anything that was in there from our previous steps, but also it definitely helps in your bullet seating forces. Okay, I will get this going. Now, this is a really easy step. You can't go wrong. So I'll turn on the machine and I'll show you a couple of times how easy this is. In and out 2 times is what we want to do. In, out. In and out. Now I can show you again. In and out. In and out. And as you'll notice, you see these 2 little washers I put on here? These are plumbing washers for a sink tap or whatever. I just put them on as stops. It helps though. It keeps me from going way too far and banging into the metal and possibly doing something to the necks. You can see the shiny on the inside of the neck. That's the chamfer, and they're nicely brushed out. We're done with part 1 of this series. On the next one, we're going to go on to priming the cases and getting the primer seated correctly, loading the cases, and then seating our bullets and getting them ready for our first time fire forming. So I will see you on the next video, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and select notify all, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.